Good morning, and welcome to a unique event. Startling news edition of the Tennis Deep Dive. Today, I am your host, and under the professional realm rather than merely shifting, tennis has been fractured. Wide open. We are traveling to you in person. A narrative that is currently conveying seismic waves from the skyscrapers of Dubai to the tennis schools of Florida and the bustling streets of Manila. If you are just joining us, submit down the coffee, halt your notifications, and listen very attentively. The hierarchy of the WTA Tour has been challenged in a manner few predicted, and certainly in a manner that the United States tennis establishment was not prepared for today. We are discussing about the Dubai Duty-Free Tennis Championships, a WTA 1000 event, the playground of the privileged, the tournament where the desert heat usually separates the great from the mediocre. Tonight, under the floodlights of the Aviation Club Tennis Center, we witnessed a collision that was supposed to be routine. It was intended to be a stepping stone. On one side of the cage, you had the American Titan, the Grand Slam champion, the undisputed juggernaut currently sitting at world number 5, Coco Gauff, a player whose athleticism is the gold standard, a player who carries the aspirations of American athletics on her shoulders every time she ties up her shoes. On the other side, the challenger, the 20-year-old left-hander from the Philippines, the rising figure who's been quietly, meticulously carving her path into the top 40, Alexandra Eala. The headline is straightforward, but the implications are intricate. Coco Gauff has collapsed. You heard me accurately. The global number 5 has been dumped out of the Dubai Duty-Free Tennis Championships in a match that can only be characterized as a tactical masterclass and a psychological siege. This is not just a tragedy for Gauff. It is a seismic upheaval to the American tennis narrative this season. The final scoreline tells a story of fortitude, belief, and unwavering fearlessness in the underdog. But the atmosphere in the stadium tells a different narrative. One, a transforming guard. For the United States, this is a wake-up call. The whole USA shocked isn't just advertising. It is a legitimate sentiment cascading to the tennis community right now. Gauff was a significant favorite. She was the barricade that was not designed to break. But today, she didn't just confront a player. She confronted a nation's pride. Alexandra Eala didn't just perform tennis. She dismantled a reputation. In the next hour, we're going to demolish this match apart. Point by point, set by set, we are going to look at the forehand that subdued the American box. We are going to analyze the mental fortitude of a young Filipina star who looked down one of the most intimidating athletes in the universe and didn't blink. We will discuss what this means for Gauff's ranking, her confidence, and her season. And we will pose the big question: is Alexandra Eala the new gigantic killer of the WDA? Buckle up. The Desert Tempest has arrived, and its name is Alexandra. Let's dive in. Let's take a breath and establish the stage correctly. To comprehend the magnitude of what occurred in Dubai today, you have to comprehend the context. You have to comprehend where these two women were standing before they walked onto that purple hardcourt. Let's commence with a favorite. Let's commence with Coco Gauff. Coming into February 2026, Gauff has been combating a very specific kind of warfare. Being world number 5 is a dangerous location. You are exceptional. Yes, you are contender for every trophy you gaze at, but you are also the hunted. Gauff has spent the last few years fortifying her serve, tweaking her forehand mechanics and relying on that world-ass movement that makes the court feel tiny for her opponents. She arrived in Dubai with mission to collect points to assert dominance and prepare for the Sunlight Double in the US. In the American media, this contest was penciled in as a routine victory. It's the kind of match you watch with one eye while reading emails. It's the round of 32 or round of 16 hurdle that a top 5 player is merely expected to clear. And that expectation is a weighty weight. It's a weight that rests in the legs and the mind. Then gaze at Alexandra Eala. The narrative around Eala has been altering rapidly. If you were observing her in 2024 or 2025, you saw the potential. You saw the rough and the dull academy pedigree. You saw the lefty spin that reminds people the magnificent. But in 2026, we are seeing something distinct. We are seeing steel. Breaking into the top 40 was the warning blast. It was her informing the tour, I am not just a prospect anymore. I am a problem. Dubai is a rapid court. The conditions can be tricky. The breeze swirls around that stadium. It favors a brave, but it punishes a careless. The match began exactly how the oddsmakers foretold. Gauff came out blazing. If you look at the stats from the first 3 contests, Gauff's first serve percentage was hovering around 78%. She was striking her spots. She was shoving Eala behind the baseline. The American's backhand, that lethal two-handed weapon, was cross-court drilling, opening up angles that Eala struggled to conceal. Eala looked nervous. Let's be honest, when you walk out to confront a Grand Slam champion, the air is thinner. Her unforced error count in the first 20 minutes was high. She was mistiming the return. The projectile was bursting off Gauff's racket with a heaviness that Eala had to adapt to. Gauff claimed the first break of serve at 2-1. Then she consolidated to 3-1. At this juncture, the text messages will presumably fly around the US tennis groups. Coco appears solid. A is overwhelmed. It felt like a typical day at the office. Gauff was progressing well, sliding, snorts, into her bullets and using a high projectile to neutralize Eala's lefty forehand. But here is where the script proceeded to rewrite itself. It wasn't a sudden detonation. It was a subtle transformation in geometry. Late in the first set, even though I was down, she started doing something very intelligent. She ceased trying to out-strike Gauff. You cannot out-hit Coco Gauff. She is too fast, too powerful. Instead, Eala started using the can opener serve. The lefty slice out broad to the ADC court. She began targeting Gauff's forehand wing with heavy dipping tip disinformation. Now, we have known for years that Gauff's forehand can be vulnerable under extreme pressure or when a ball is elevated and whirling away from her. Eala, coached by the best, knew this. She began looping that ball high and deep to the Gauff forehand, prompting Coco to step back to decelerate to carefully roll the ball back rather than destroy it. Eala didn't take the first set. Gauff took it 6-4. But if you observe closely, the momentum had halted. Gauff didn't win it comfortably. She survived it. The last 2 games of that first set were a grind. Eala was receiving a racket on everything. She was making Gauff play one more ball, then one more ball. This is where the shot began to materialize. The second set began and Eala came out with a distinct body language. She was bouncing on her toes. She was gripping boosting after unforced errors from Gauff. That demonstrates belief. The crucial moment arrived in the third game of the second set. Gauff serving 1-1. Gauff double faulted an uncommon lapse in concentration. Then Eala stepped inside the baseline on a second serve and blasted a forehand down the line. A winner clean. The stadium muttered. That wasn't defensive strike. That was an assertion of power. Eala broke serve. 2-1. Suddenly, the pressure reversed. Gauff, the world number 5, was down a break in the second set to a player ranked outside the top 30. You could see the tension in Gauff's shoulders. She began rushing. She started trying to end points too rapidly to stop Eala's rhythm. And that is precisely what Eala desired. The Filipino star's game in the second set was a masterclass in regulated aggression. She used the court dimensions effectively. She dragged Gauff forward with small-angle cross-court balls, then lob her or pass her. It was tactical variety that we usually see from survivors, not 20-year-olds. When Eala's serve was set at 5-4, the pressure was overwhelming. The Dubai crowd, which has a vast Filipino contingent, woke up. The applause were deafening. Heya 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 was ringing through the bleachers. Imagine being Coco Gauff in that instant. You are the favorite, but the stadium is supporting for the underdog. The commotion was palpable. Eala double faulted on her first set point. Nerves, but she didn't crumble. On the second set point, she hit a brave serve out wide and completed with dry volley set to Eala. 1 set all. Now we enter the third set. The territory of champions. Usually this is where the highest ranked player flexes their experience. They recalibrate. They go to the bathroom. They wash their makeup. They come out and dominate. Everyone anticipated Gauff to surge back. And when the third set, 6-1 or 6-2, but Eala didn't let her. The third set was a dogfight. It was physical. Both competitors were perspiration profusely in the humidity. The rallies were extending to 15, 20, 25 shots. Gauff was retrieving marvels, sending back moonballs, slicing, dicing, doing everything to disrupt Eala. But Eala was in the zone. You know that gaze an athlete gets. The irises glaze over. They don't hear the throng. They only see the ball. Eala was in the zone. She was hitting patterns. Her backhand down the line. A picture she's been working on relentlessly. Was locating the corner time and time again. The pivotal rupture came at 4-4. The commercial end. Gauff serving. The tally was 30-30. Gauff missed the first serve. On the second serve, Eala took a massive gamble. She ran around her backhand to strike an inside-out forehand return. It was dangerous. If she missed, she gave Gauff a game point, but she connected. The ball shouted past Gauff. Break point. On break point, we saw the point of the match. A 32-shot rally. Gauff defending for her life. Eala delving left, right, deep, short. Finally, Gauff left a forehand slightly short. Eala moved in and launched a forehand winner into the open court. She broke 5-4. Eala serving for the match against the world number 5. The final contest was pure drama. A moved up 40-0. 3 match points. The audience was on its feet. The Filipino flags were swaying frantically. But Gauff is a fighter. She rescued the first match point with a devastating return. 40-15. She preserved the second match point with a delicate drop stroke that Eala couldn't reach. 40-30. The tension was substantial enough to cut with a knife. 1 match point remaining. A deuce would alter the momentum entirely. A through the ball. She went for a body serve. Gauff slammed it back. A floater to the middle of the field. A stepped up, waited for the ball to drop and strike an inside forehand to the Gauff backhand corner. Gauff lunged. The ball struck the frame of her racket and sailed wide. Game, set, match, Eala. The clamor was instantaneous. AA dropped her racket, palms to her face, incredulity washing over her. The camera panned to Coco Gauff, who looked astonished. She gave a gracious handshake because she's a class act, but the impact was written all over her features. Why is the whole USA shocked? It's not just because Gauff lost. Players lose. It happens. It's how she lost. She was outmaneuvered tactically by a competitor who on paper shouldn't have had the weapons to harm her. This match exposed reality about the present WTA Tour. The gap between the top 5 and the top 50 is reducing every single day. The athleticism that Gauff relies on is becoming the benchmark standard for the tour. A matched her pace. Eala matched her intensity. And for significant portions of the match, I exceeded her tactical clarity. For the American audience, this is disconcerting. We're used to seeing Gauff dominate these early rounds. We count on her deep dives. To see her exit Dubai this early against a player who is still building her resume increases queries. Was it an off day? Was it the surface? Or is it the advent of a new rival? Let's speak about the World 5 aspect. Rankings are about consistency. Gauff is number 5 because she is consistent. But in a quarterfinal tournament, rankings don't strike the ball. This match is a reminder that on any given Sunday, or in this instance, a weekday in Dubai, reputation signifies nothing. For Alexandra Eala, this is a career-defining moment. This is the contest that moves her from promising talent to contender. Beating a top 5 player at a WTA 1000 event is the gold standard for a breakthrough. It opens up the draw. It injects a massive quantity of ranking points into her profile. It probably pushes her towards a seeding posture for the forthcoming Grand Slams. But more importantly, it alters how the locker room notices her. When you walk into the player dining area tomorrow, skulls will turn, people will murmur, "That's the girl who took out Coco." That reverence is earned in blood and labor. And Eala earned every ounce of it tonight. If we gaze at the Hawkeye data coming in now, 2 metrics stand out. First, forehand speed. Eala's average forehand speed in the third set was actually higher than Gauff's. She was striking through the court, not just moving the ball. Second, breakpoint conversion. Eala converted 4 out of 6 breakpoints. Gauff converted 2 out of 9. That is the plot of the match. Efficiency. When the door opened, Eala kicked it down. When the door opened for Gauff, she hesitated. This efficiency is what separates the excellent from the great. Today, Eala was wonderful. We also have to commend the coaching strategy. The decision to approach the Gauff forehand with high rotation was relentless. It wasn't pretty at moments. It resulted in some protracted, ugly rallies, but it was effective. It compelled errors. It frustrated the American. It was a contest plan executed to perfection. And let's not disregard the geopolitical element here. The Philippines has been anticipating for a tennis superstar. They have had outstanding athletes in boxing, in billiards, in basketball. But tennis, this is rare air. The support Eala received in Dubai, which is essentially a home game for her given the demographic to the audience, was a weapon. Gauff was confronting the player and the environment. So where do we go from here? For Gauff, it's back to the practice arena. She needs to analyze why she couldn't close out the second set. She needs to work out why her forehand broke down under the lefty rotation. She will be great. She is a champion, but this will ache. For Eala, the tournament isn't over. The threat now is the emotional hangover. You beat the universe number 5. Great, but you have to perform again in 48 hours. Can she reset? Can she come down from this high and perform a lesser-ranked opponent with the same intensity? That is the next challenge. But for tonight, let's just appreciate the pandemonium. The Dubai Duty-Free Tennis Championships has its headline, "The bracket is broken. The predictions are in the garbage." And a 20-year-old from Quezon City looms tall in the desert. Up next, we are going to bring in our analysts to look at the specific frame-by-frame analysis of that final tiebreak and analyze what this does to the projected rankings for the remainder of the month. We will also hear from the press conference where we anticipate some very interesting quotes from both factions. You are observing the Tennis Deep Dive. Do not go anywhere. The earth is still shaking today as we close up this special broadcast on what has undeniably been the most electrifying day of the 2026 tennis timetable so far. We are left with more than just a tally line. We are left with a narrative transformation. Sports are defined by periods of disruption. We love the dynasties. Sure, we admire the dominance of the mythology. But there is something primal, something profoundly compelling about the upset. It recalls us why we observe. It reminds us that nothing is predetermined. Tonight, Alexandra Eala provided that disruption. She looked at the rankings. She glanced at the history. And she determined they didn't matter. For the American admirers waking up to this news, the shock is genuine. Coco Gauff is a pillar of excellence. To see her fall this early is unsettling, but it is also a testament to the profundity of the WTA Tour. There are no easy contests anymore. The world is catching up. And for the supporters in the Philippines and indeed across Asia, this is a moment of arrival. A has been pounding on the door for 2 years. Tonight, she didn't just knock, she kicked it off the hinges. The Dubai Duty-Free Tennis Championships continues. The draw has opened up. New pathways to the final have emerged. Who takes advantage of the vacuum left by the world number 5? That is the question for the remainder of the week. We will be covering every serve, every volley, and every dramatic moment perfectly here. But for now, the headline remains. The Titan has faltered and the challenger has ascended. For the Tennis Deep Dive, I'm your host. Thank you for watching. Keep your gaze on the ball because if tonight demonstrated anything, it's that you never know what's going to happen next. Good night.